Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. It's where I chat about random topics driving home. It's currently 3:20 and I'm attempting to get home to go and eat something. Just left work, so I'm a teacher and yeah, it's Monday. Anyway, pardon my sniffling, I am still sick even though it's been several hours. Right, there is a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics and I do run into different topics as well. I don't stick to one. It's sort of everything's interlinked, as most things in reality are. So yeah, I also swear a lot. I like it. It also helps my flow, my chi. Yeah, so once my train of thoughts gets running, I do tend to swear a lot, but it's expressive and it sounds and I like it. So I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I already had a childhood and 20 years of being repressed, so I'm not doing that. The topic for the drive home on the day today is attitude. Now there are several ways you could look at this. You could look at this in a positive way, look at it in a negative way. At the moment I've just walked out of a year 6 class. Pretty convinced that I don't want kids. No. There were several kids in that class that showed me that it's all right. I don't want my own, but you know. But these kids, these are coming from a particular subset of, you know, the population. It's to put it exactly, it's FIFO kids. It's kids with money, with absent parents, with attitude that have been told they're fabulous their entire life, and you sit there and you think, I want to, yeah. It's like, I want to show you how not you are. You know, they're living a delusional lifestyle, basically. Their parents have set them up for it. Maybe the parents have come from a traumatic background or something themselves where they've lived in not exactly nice circumstances, so they're trying to overcompensate now. And these kids are coming out brattish. And it's a mix. In this particular school I was in today, it was a mix of those FIFO kids mixed with essentially drug dealer kids. So it's a weird mix. I'm looking at least 2 I had in one particular class that I'm going, your parents sell meth. I can tell. Looking at you, they sell meth. Looking at the way they've dressed you. Looking at the fact that you've got a mullet and a bowl cut at the same time, I'm going, they sell meth, or there's some shit going on at home that is just not stable. And you've been left to run riots. We're going to have another Gen X on our hands here. I can see it happening. You know, the latch and key kids? We got another one coming. Because the parents just aren't paying attention. We've gone from, the boomers, over-controlling, Gen X, left to their own devices, still trying to deal with the boomers bullshit, millennials, who are dealing with crisis after crisis after crisis, and then we got Gen Z. And whatever comes after Gen Z, whatever they've named those fuckers, is another Gen X, Mark II. The ignored kids. The ones that have to raise themselves butter assholes. So, you know, so we're having another one of those coming through. You know, and it's all the whole attitude. And my parents used to say, you got an attitude problem. I'm going, do I? Because I'm sure you beat that out of me pretty young. But these guys have been told they're amazing. So in any way that you try to get them to do anything that's not absolute entertainment and something they absolutely want to do, they will argue it to the point. They'll argue you down. They're like, I don't have to do that. It's like, yeah, you do. This is school. We're here to learn. We're here to get on with this activity. It's not like we're giving these horrible, horrible experiences to kids. Everything's candified now. Everything's gamified. Everything's all computer clicks, and isn't it lovely? And we're having fun, and it's colourful, and oh yeah, all the soft side of things. And we're gentle parenting stuff because their parents are fucking useless apparently. But we're doing all the positive, nice, fluffy, nice things, and then you get some turd with a mullet turn around to me and say, "I'm not doing that," and you go, "I'll bet you are." How much do you want to bet? But that's the thing, is maybe we're making it a little too soft for them, because now we can just scurry them out of the classroom. They can go sit in the office for a while. It's like, I'll just get him out of your hair. Are you going to tell him off? No. What is going on? There's no consequence. There's no problem. He's just going to feel entitled to be able to do this every time he wants to get out of class. It's insane. It's no consequence. It gives me the shits. I mean, that could be a trauma response from my own childhood where there was like uber consequences for even looking at your parent wrong, but you know, it's I don't get it. Are we making them too entitled and too soft and brattish, essentially, where, you know, this whole attitude where it's selfish is now considered cute? I mean, it started maybe with the 80s kids, the tough kids, right? We're the tough kids. I'm talking about social media and movies and shit like that, right? Where kids, you know, in the 80s, or starting up and going through the 90s, where it was cute to be tough and cute to be rap. And you sit there and think, if you actually existed in circumstances where you had to be tough, or you lived in like fucking Philly, then you can have an excuse to be tough and stuff like that. But you fuckers grew up in suburbia. There's no real reason for you to pull this shit. It's not cute, and I find you irritating, quite frankly. It's that attitude, and we have to just go with it. So, to me, that's the kind of examples I've got where I'm thinking, you do have an attitude problem, as cliche as it sounds, that's gonna backfire on you later in life. I don't find that shit cute. It is counterintuitive to learning anything. It's not gonna get you anywhere. And I'm looking at this mulleted kid, and he's got like a foot-long ginger mullet, and I'm going, holy fuck, that's a meth head in the making. It really is. It's like, it's gonna go that way. As soon as he gets to high school, it's gonna start with weed, and then it's going on to meth, because it's already in the area. I'm going, I know where this kid's going. And it's tragic because it's been cultivated since a toddler. And his parents are not going to know what to do. Because, we gave him everything he wanted. Yeah, you gave him too much. we let him have his way because we're all busy. We're just trying to provide for him. It's like, no, you were supposed to stay there and parent. Now he thinks he can run the fucking household because he can just answer back and get on with everything. And you're sitting there thinking, you're setting yourself up for a fall there, aren't you? I'm not saying go strict crazy like my parents did, where every ounce of your daily life was controlled in a way that would make you subservient to them. But the day when they can just tell you, I don't feel like doing that, or I'm not doing that, or I don't feel like, or have a tantrum in year 6, which is 11 to 12 years old, and they can just have a literal tantrum and get away with it, and you'll, you know, scuttle them off for some quiet time, which is rewarding in itself. Because I would love some fucking quiet time. My class is going crazy. I would love some quiet. Can I get one of the deputies to come and get me? Because fuck this. So you're taking the piss. The teacher's losing her mind. Oh great, I'm going for some quiet time. Someone catch this, because I'm fucking not. When do we get to quiet time? You're the adult. Yes, and I'm at this point losing it. Because your kids are not acting like kids properly, they're acting like brats. But that translates as well as they grow up into their 20s. They develop a sense of entitlement where they feel like, you know, I've had my parents tell me I'm this since God knows how long, and aren't I cute while I do this? They might get knocked down a peg or two in high school, but getting out of high school, if they were in the popular group, of course, this lends itself to the same stupid dilemmas where they have to deal with adulthood and they're not in high school anymore, but they can't make the disconnect that they're not popular and that everyone doesn't like, you know, everyone likes them. Well, they don't like them anymore. We're all adults. We're here to earn money. We're here to get along. Some of us are introverted, some of us are extroverted. The extroverted ones weren't really rewarded because it's usually the extroverted ones in my area that develop drug habits and stuff like that. So, you know, it's not like we're in some kind of, you know, highly educated networking system where everybody gets to know each other. And it's the extroverted ones that put themselves out there and make themselves famous. To become famous, for example, it would be a fluke. Everyone, all these fuckers millennials are expecting to be TikTok famous. No, that doesn't happen. Do you know how many millions of millennials have signed on to the idea that I'm going to be YouTube famous? And it doesn't happen. But it comes from their parents, you know, telling them, we're fabulous. We can't go wrong. We can do anything. In a sense, possible. You can do anything. You can attempt anything. Will it work? Who fucking knows? That's, you know, fate meeting circumstance. Or if that makes sense, you know. opportunity meeting preparations, that kind of thing. Back when I was in high school, everybody wanted to be a football star. You know, it doesn't work out. How many of the kids in my year group actually went on to do AFL? It's like none of them, for a start. And they got mediocre jobs. And some of us went to uni. The flukes went to uni. I went to uni. But that was only because I was pushed to do it. You know, it wasn't a case of, you know, we're talented and therefore we deserve it and we should and we will. It was a case of, if it was available, talent might get recognized, but still you've got to try hard. This attitude we've got these days with the kids and Gen Z, they're very entitled. They think they deserve it. So you've done no work to do it. You put no time in, no effort, no skill development. You're just going to fluke it into TikTok infamy. I don't fucking think so. You need a firm grasp on reality, mate. What have you done? You know, they get pissy because people have got like Rolexes and shit. And it's like, yeah, but what have you done to earn that? But I started a YouTube video. It means nothing. It means nothing. You haven't done anything to earn it. You have no understanding of how the system works. The worst example I've got is OnlyFans at this point. I'm just looking at this going, this is just prostitution. I'm pretty sure it is. It's softcore porn. You are essentially willing yourself to be a porn star. I don't think much of it, to be honest. I'm entertained by the idea of the foot fetish thing. I think that's hilarious, but I don't have that as an actual fetish. So I'm going, are you serious? Someone's actually taking pictures of feet and making a mint of it. What the fuck? What next? Elbows? Someone's got a very pronounced chin. Holy shit, it does it for me. You know, where does it end? It doesn't make sense. It's weird. I mean, I've watched porn. I'm not against porn. I am against prostitution, though, weirdly. But it's essentially the same thing. Yeah, people having sex for money. Anyway, I'm a weird person. But, hypocritical. No, but that's the thing. It's like the attitude that comes with the people. It will set you up for a fall. If you don't develop a healthy, humble attitude early in life, and I'm not saying a repressed one like my parents tried to put me on, where I just, you know, follow orders and I do whatever they want me to do. That's toxic. That's people pleasing. But you've got to have the ability to, you know, accept that you might fail, that you might not get it right. And it's the arrogance that's coming with these kids. It's driving me nuts. You need to get knocked down. Dare I say it, they need to get knocked down a peg or two. Reality's going to hit them fucking hard, and it's going to hit them for their own good at this point. Because, you know, I don't wish nasty things on them, but I'm just saying you can't be so far up yourself that you think you will win all the time. It's insane. It's insane. You still have to put the work in. You still have to find the right circumstances, context, maybe the right connections if you want a particular job or position, or, you know, you still got to build yourself up. This is part of the process of life. You stand on the shoulders of giants. You don't just get it straight off the bar and it's me and I deserve it because I'm me. That's just arrogant, self-conceited. I don't understand it. And it's not cute at all, this tough guy attitude the kids are coming through with. And the girls are doing it too. I find it nauseating. It's bad enough when the guys did it because they got that toxic masculinity, but because of equal rights now we've got girls saying I'm a tough girl. It's like, grow up. Show some humility. Have you ever been in a fight? I have. I've been in a few fights actually. It's not what you think it is. A lot of it is usually anger based. You look and feel like a prat while you're doing it. And you know, there's no accolades that come with it. You know, you don't get recognized for your toughness. If you're an adult and you get into a fight, you're usually done for assault. No one's going to sit there and go, oh, he's a badass. No, he's a prisoner now, okay? You are going to prison for assault. That's not attractive. Anyone who you are trying to date in the right mindset will probably look at you like, wow, that's a really unreliable person. And how long till they turn that on me? It's not something that's good. if you lose control of your emotions, and if you're promoting this toughness, this anger, aggression, people will not want to be around you. Unless you're like even like cage fighters and, you know, UFC fighters. Oh shit. They have a certain level of control. They're not sitting there starting fights. Well, they shouldn't be. I mean, there are a few that do it for marketing, honestly, to promote their image. But they're not actively going out and looking for fights. It would be ridiculous, because you'd never actually get to the fight. You'd be fighting everyone before the fucking fight. You turn up to the main event and you'd be bloody as fuck, and you'd be crippled, you know? And all because you put your shit around and tried to start a fucking fight with randoms. It just doesn't make sense. You gotta have a whole control on your attitude and things like that. And you could go both ways as saying, you know, you could say there's positive and there's negative. You could be incredibly positive, nauseating to the extent and where you're falsifying your feelings in order to promote a positive image. That's not going to help you, because people can smell a lie a mile away. We can tell when they're faking it. Oh, I can. If you want to believe the lie and believe that everything's okay, then fine. I don't encourage that, because you never know where a person stands. If they've given the impression that they're happy all the time, and they finally run into circumstances which, you know, are shit circumstances, but you're thinking they're okay, then you're not going to ask, are they okay? You're going to assume, oh, because they're still smiling, everything's okay, go with it. That will get you into trouble. I mean, you look at people like the royal family at this point, where, you know, their PR stunt is that everything's okay, everything's running, you know, everything's positive, and we're looking into all this charity work and all this shit. But, you know, when it starts falling apart and fraying at the edges is when people like Andrew stand up, and oh, by the way, he's got a background in doing horrible things to young girls, and he associates with convicted pedophiles, and you sit there and think, but he's put an image of, you know, being such a good person up front, and it's that fake push for that positive attitude that has caused a sort of, you know, when the public finds out, they're devastated. Well, they're not devastated, because no one particularly liked Andrew. He wasn't popular, but oh dear. Yeah, he was a bit of a creeper even when he was younger. Randy Andy. Ew. Creepy uncle. There's probably an accolade for that. Anyway. But if you try and fake being happy and nice all the time, people are not going to believe you. It's the boy who cried wolf. When shit goes down and you need someone, they're not going to believe you. If you put this image of being this positive, upbeat person all the time, and it's a lie. When it crashes through the reality of the situation, where your real personality, I wanted to say personage there, comes through, people are going to abandon you, because it's like you're lying. On the other side, you don't want to be this complete negative, depressing person, because no one wants to hang around a sad sack, do they? Do you remember that? Raggedy Ann? Not Raggedy Ann. Oh, what was it? The kids. And there was Sad Sack, he was orange. It's the most depressing fucking character. And it was all sort of, it was a series when I was a kid, in the 90s, maybe the 80s. But it was a bunch of toys that were presented. It's on YouTube, I've seen it. A bunch of toys that were rejects. Oh, the reject kids, or something like that. Anyway. But the Sad Sack character was possibly the worst character. I didn't like him particularly, but he was actually there to represent depression. And there was a whole bunch of other characters in the thing, and there was like autism and anger and all kinds of weird shit. We didn't realize it at the time, because we were just like kids, and we're trying to be, you know, seeing the cartoon, seeing it as an inclusive way to make friends. It's like, oh, we're all a bit odd, but we all fit in, because we're all odd. That's the commonality. But you don't want to be that overtly depressing person, do you? But at the same time, you don't want to deny when you are depressed. You don't want to be the negative person. So you've got to have sort of like a mediated mid-ground. Sorry, my sinus is playing up again. People want that even keel attitude. Capability is also an attitude that people tend to like, I think. We want to know that we can rely on people. Incompetent assholes give me this shit. They really do. They really do. But I hold people that are adults to a higher standard than I do to kids, because you've already gone through the rigmarole of childhood, adulthood, you know, puberty into teens and into adulthood, I would hope. So when you get to my age and you find someone who's incompetent, it really gets up your ass. I'm going, are you serious? Oh my god. But not everybody's growing at the same pace and by the same situation, so I suppose we have to make allowances. That's one of my biggest problems, is I have trouble making space with people that are not developing as I deem they should do. That's partly my teacher self and partly, trauma self. That's my mum in the back of my head saying, what the fuck? So, we try to get along. We try to be more inclusive and understanding. Sometimes I outright get pissy because it's just a case of, are you serious that you would act this way? It doesn't go with common sense to me, what they are doing. This is why I probably shouldn't have hung out with 20-year-olds. I was getting frustrated at what they were doing. I'm going, you know what, they're at a different stage in their life, and I'm trying to be understanding about this. They have no idea what's coming, and it's going to be harder for them because, what with the whole circumstances being worse. It's bad for us, but it'll be worse for them because it's just fucking up more as we go along. I need to be more understanding. I do. I need to be softer in that regard. And it's one of those demons I have to fucking work on, But I do still get frustrated when I see common logic being ignored for the sake of shits and giggles, and I'm going, you are fucking yourself and you're not even heeding the warnings. Anyway, that's their business. I'm not getting involved in that again. I'll see you 5 years from now, sweetheart. So I know where this goes. This is going to be fun. Do you ever study for a test and you've studied, so you're going to get it right? And then you have the test and then you fluke it? You don't fluke it, but you prepped. It's that feeling. I know it's coming. I'm like, I've done this test. Sorry, I shouldn't gloat. I'm gloating. That's naughty. Anyway, oh God, my nose. So attitude, what kind of attitude can you have? Don't be overly optimistic, because you still have to have a realistic sense of cynicism, I guess. From cynicism we develop wit, we develop a sense of humor, even if it's a dry sense of humor. It will help you see the humor in horrible, tragic situations, yes. Sarcasm as well, it's a great method of dealing with trauma. A lot of my, the weird shit I say that I find funny, I don't know if anyone finds funny, but stems from being faced with some fucked up situations and trying to see the brighter side of things. If you listen to the podcast I did on humor, I discuss why people get offended about jokes which are seemingly not exactly wholesome. And it's a response to dealing with some fucked up shit, and if you don't laugh you cry or you lose your mind. So people tend to develop a sense of humor. Be it weird, dark sense of humor sometimes. I like to think I've got a nice range. Most of it stemming from Monty Python-like circumstances, where you just see the silliness in it and you go, I was getting tattooed, I was laughing my ass off. That was hilarious. So I was talking to this girl about mental health, and she's gone, the tattooist I went to, she's gorgeous. I sat there for something like, I think the first half was 3 hours and the second half was 4 hours, but she was doing this massive one on my back. And she was gorgeous, and she's had some personal issues herself, predisposition, mental health, matched with fucked up life circumstances, so similar ones to mine. So we were just comparing notes basically, which is nice to do with someone who's been through it, because you're like, okay, so I know I had the right reaction here, or what did you do differently, or that kind of thing. It's nice to have a conversation with these kind of people. But I was having the time of my life, because she's sitting there stabbing me with a needle and I'm giggling my ass off because it's silly. You're faced with this pain that shouldn't hurt. Well, it should hurt, but it doesn't hurt. It's voluntary pain for the sake of long-term enjoyment, essentially. If you're looking at the aesthetics or the earning of the tattoo. And I laughed because I'm sitting there going, this is painful. And eventually, every now and again, she'd hit a nerve, or she'd go a bit too deep and it would just piss blood, and I'd be laughing. She'd go, oh no, I'm so sorry. No, it's okay, it's all right, I don't mind. But she was so apologetic because she's making me piss blood. I just thought that was funny. I'm going, you're not actually hurting me properly. You understand this, right? I'm so sorry, but she's so unapologetic. I'm going, oh, look at you. Stop being nice, come on. Hit me properly. It's weird. The things you find funny. But yeah, you've got to find humor in situations. I know this is physical pain, and it is somewhat physical pain. It's not a lot of physical pain, and you do forget how it feels within a week or so of doing it. You forget, because in between doing the outlines of my tattoo and doing the actual filling in, I forgot how much it hurt. And even now I've got no real bearing on it because it's been a while. After you get it done, it just feels like sunburn. You're like, oh, that's just a really bad sunburn. But you know, you deal with it in the situation. Now I was sitting there for 3 and 4 hours, 2 separate sittings, taking this needle. And anyone who's got a tattoo knows, yeah, it's not too bad. I've known people that are covered, and I'm sitting there going, how the fuck did you sit for that long? But you make light of it. You know, this is something you have to go through, and it's something you have to deal with to get to where you want to get to. If you want a full sleeve or something like that, it's going to hurt like fuck. I had mine going down my spine. I'm going, this has got to hurt somewhere along the line. I'm sitting there comparing notes with other people who've got tattoos. I'm like, did yours hurt? How much did it hurt? Which bit hurt the most? I want to know, because I want to see how tough I am. I'm so tough. No. No. I got mine on my back because that's where I carry my strength, basically. That's where I deem I carry my strength. Given that I'm a Taurus sign, all my strength is in my back. Maybe if you're a Leo, it would be in your chest. I don't know. That's where my chakras are, if you want to go into that. But no, I've always carried my weight on my back, my shoulders. I can handle that. So that's where I put my tattoos. I've got one on my left inner hip, if you want to call it, right on the ovary. And that's because I've got an ovary issue. It's kind of like a totem. I want to strengthen it. But, you know, I don't know if it did any good, but, you know. But, you know, it's a pain you've got to go through, and it's like any other thing. Having the attitude to be willing, sorry, my stutter's kicking in. Having the willingness to try is, you know, pretty much a godsend, because as soon as you give up, you're not going to achieve anything if you just give in. I was lucky and unlucky. I was lucky in the sense that my mum drilled that into us. So you will get this right, you will get it right first time. She was more forgiving when we first started working. And I say working in that I mean that we started domestication, we started being in service. Because she domesticated us. She didn't raise us, she domesticated us for service, for participation as an adult. We were treated as adults very young in life. We didn't have a childhood. My childhood ended at 5, because from there it became service. You were going to learn. As soon as we started school, we started domestication. She's like, as soon as you get institutionalized, you are going to be treated as an adult. You will be expected to uphold adult levels. You will do adult things. Not all adult things, obviously. But we were heading towards that way. But it was a blessing to be treated like that, I expect, because I didn't have the feeling of helplessness that would come with someone who's had a soft upbringing, who gets to their 20s and don't know what the fuck they're doing with themselves or their lives and don't know how to look after themselves. I knew at 10 what the fuck I had to do, because she told us and she made it very fucking clear you were going to do this. So, you know, I could run a household by 15. I could. I'd been trained for it. After 15, we started moving on to things like house renovations, landscaping, all those extra projects. It's like, right, you're a teenager now, upgrades. We've got the domestication down, which is why I can very easily and have fun with renovating houses and stuff. I renovated my last apartment twice, so I had a blast, to be honest. The idea that I was feeble was drilled out of us. And I don't know if she was expecting to compensate for some kind of horrible, toxic femininity where women are perceived to be weaker than men and we can't do any of that. I don't know if she was aiming to get that out of our system young, but she managed it. I put myself on par with men. I don't say, oh my God, I'm a girl, I can't have a go. I will fucking have a go. I will have a go to the point where I will try to outdo the fuckers, because I'm like, right, I'm gonna have some fun with this. If I can, and I'm terrible, I am terrible. This is where the only part of my competition comes in, I swear. This is the only part I'm competitive. is when someone says I can't do something. It's like, you can't do that. I fucking can, and I will. Watch me. And then I get a little weird giggle and I get going because I'm like, I'm slightly insane. But you know, it's fun to prove that you can, because they underestimate you. That's a wonderful attitude, I think, to have, because it will not only propel you forward but surprise the shit out of some people. It's a great game if you want to make it a game. When they start doubting you, show them that they're wrong. It's marvelous. I think I shocked my ex-husband when I started renovating things. I don't know if his mum was that way. That's the thing, you got to take into account what kinds of backgrounds these people have come from. If it's alien for someone like me to do any of these things, then it's going to be a huge shock. And that's the fun part, because you surprise them, isn't it? I actually thoroughly enjoyed digging up slate floors and things. I'm weird. I love crafting and stuff. It's fun. And renovating houses is just crafting on a bigger scale, and you don't get to do it often, so it's got that novelty side of things. I thoroughly had a blast when I was reflooring my house. That's really weird. It's like a toy. I get to play the toy. But yeah, no, you got to have some kind of a growth mindset as well in your attitude. If you're developing an attitude, I'm not saying head towards like the negative, nasty attitude that some people tend to have where they're selfish and stuff like that. Growth mindset is not just a case of I'm doing this to promote myself. I'm doing this to promote everyone. That's, like a leadership skill as well. It's not, you're not just there to push yourself forward and gain from it. You want to get your team to a better place, to a better context, to a better life situation. That's a good attitude to have. It's not just enough to be seen as a benevolent leader. You need to be a progressive one. You need to be able to reach for shit. You go yourself first. Don't fucking send your troops where you wouldn't go yourself. Don't, because they'll fucking give you flag for that shit. I mean, think about Putin at the moment. He's sitting in his ivory tower surrounded by bodyguards and shit. He's got his troops on the floor. They're dying for an asshole they'd never met, who's hiding, essentially. So what kind of a leader is that? Meanwhile, you got the Ukrainian guys in the trenches with his people, fighting alongside, and when he's not fucking fighting alongside, he's trying to do the admin shit in another country, trying to get them to join in and help. And it's that kind of shit that builds leadership. You need to be a joiner, in a sense, in order to lead. Now, I'm naturally I'm not a pragmatist. Oh, to an extent, I'm a pragmatist, where I'll sit on the fence and I'll look at things and I'll go, that's funny. But but I'm pretty much a Sigma. I don't need the approval of others to do what I'm going to do anyway. I'm past that now. I used to look for appeasement, and we all know what appeasement did. It doesn't work with Hitler. It's not going to work with the people around you, not unless they're extremely vain and you can trick them into it. Some people can be bought. I hate that. I don't like that at all. I don't think human life should be bought and sold, but some people enter into that where you buy them enough gifts and they'll give you affection. That seems very transactional to me. I think it's low. I don't like it. It's like pimping yourself out. I don't like it. That's not a good attitude to have, where someone can buy your attention or affections. If you can't stand on your own 2 feet, who can you stand on, right? That's why I don't like accepting money from people. I don't ask for help financially. I do it myself, especially if I can, because it proves to me my own self-worth. If I can do it, then maybe I can show other people how to do it. It's passing on the information, not the wealth itself. Or maybe I would anyway. I'd probably give them a seed, something to start up their own project, something like that. I probably would, because I know how hard it is to get that first seed. But, you should be aiming for positivity, but not for the toxic positivity where you fake it to make it. If you're not genuinely a nice person, people are going to smell the blood and water. They're going to know that you're a fake. They're going to call you on that shit, especially in this day and age, because all the rich white people who are making millions from fake PR stunts are getting called on their shit right now. Hardcore. I say rich white people, that is the majority of the group. It's not actually all white people. There are a whole bunch of people that, you use virtue signaling and stuff like that to get ahead in life, to get up the social ladder. And they're all getting called on their shit so hard right now. Every time I open up my news or my MSN, I'm sitting there looking at people that are getting handed their ass publicly. I'm like, oh, okay, so the tables are turning, okay. So if you're going to be nice, be genuinely nice. I mean, I have the worst time because, as I said before, I do tend to send out my feminine. My feminine is soft and fluffy. She's soft and fluffy, and she loves people getting along and nice things and eating cakes and pink cakes and flowers and shit like that. I'll send her out as an ambassador to the main body. If you've listened to my Inner People podcast, you'd know what I'm talking about. I'm not entirely crazy today, but my problem is that I send this fluffy, nice person out, and then people are nasty to her because, maybe, I don't know. To be honest, I can't read people that well. I can read their energies, but I can't read why their actions don't match their energies. Or, it's why do you do this? It's the two-facedness that gets me the worst. But if someone's nasty to her, then I reel her back in, and I've got my masculine coming out, and he is, he's not going to handle that shit well for the sake of building up. He's not going to do appeasement, believe me. He's not going to sugarcoat shit. If you've been an asshole, he will tell you to the face you've been an asshole. He's very straightforward. He is the protector. You have pissed off the soft part of me. Now you're going to meet the protector part of me. He's not very soft. He is when it comes to it, he likes you. But, when it comes to hurting the inner feminine, he's going to fuck you up. So, which I find happens a lot in guys as well, which is interesting. Maybe I picked it up from them, I don't know. I've seen my brother in action when one of us girls, because I've got two sisters and me, and my brother is the oldest, he's very protective of us. So if anyone comes across as a creep or anything like that, I've seen him run into full mode. He's not the kind to not defend us. And it's not just because we're girls, it's also because, well, not just because we're sisters to him, but also because we're girls, because he is very protective of the feminine, which guys should be. And girls in turn look after the masculines, because, after they've been in a fight, they're going to need healing, right? This is just logic. So we heal them. Inner people, again, conversation. If you've listened to that podcast, you'd understand what I'm getting at, maybe. But, it's just, it doesn't make sense to have that nasty attitude, unless it's, I want to say, earned. Like if you've done something really horrible to someone, then don't be surprised when they come out swinging. It's absurd. I would like to believe that I like to sit in my feminine state a lot more, but considering I'm working 6 out of 7 days, mercenary style, the default is to come out swinging, right? It's like, especially if I've given you something nice and you've shown me that you're a bastard. So it's and I've sat and listened to a load of people on YouTube and TikToks and stuff like that talking about women who want to be in their feminine state, but they have to come into the masculine state, and now it's unattractive, and oh, you women are too masculine. I'm sitting there going, well, what did you do to make us go that way? What did you do to make us feel that we aren't safe enough to be soft around you? And then they get angry about it. It's like, well, what are you doing? It's like, anyway, long story. Keep it soft if you can. Guys can be soft too, absolutely. My brother is one of the softest guys I've ever met, but he's also fiercely protective. He's not going out looking for fights, but if a fight starts, he's there. That's what it should be. And same with the girls that are taking on these negative, nasty traits, just for drama's sake, I expect, or insecurities, I don't know. They go out looking for these fights, and I'm sitting there thinking, this is not going to get us anywhere. This is just nasty attitude that makes us all look like assholes. And I'll call them on their shit, and I do it unashamedly because I can see it, and what they want is people to go along with it. Because it's the nastiness. I don't know if they get some kind of popularity out of it, they get some kind of status out of it, but this bitch, dare I say it, this bitch personality that's going around is like, I'm a bad bitch. It's like, no, you're just a nasty one. You're not a bad bitch. Bad bitches don't need to drag other people down like this to make themselves feel better. And I know I point out a lot of these girls, and if they are listening, they probably know who I'm talking about. I'm not hiding that shit. The only reason I point it out is because I've seen the initial behaviors. I'm going, you know, it's, I don't know if it's the autism in me. I'm going, oh, look, pattern. There's another pattern. I collect these patterns. I look for anomalies. That's part of my trend. I like doing it. I love patterns. So when I find people that are anomalies, it interests me. But maybe I come across as a bitch. I don't know. But the only reason I'm pointing out these things is when I've seen it already happen. I didn't throw the first punch in these arrangements. I merely reacted. I say merely, that's a loaded weapon as well, isn't it? But it's the nastiness. It's like, drop the attitude. No one would want an aggressively violent guy around them. No one would want a bitchy girl around them. You got to lose that attitude. And I'm not saying fake it to join in. I'm saying genuinely stop being an ego-driven bitch. You know? I suppose I could listen to my own advice though. I don't know. I have rage issues. I know. I'm dealing with them on a daily basis. I know. That's why I go to the gym. To escalate and de-escalate and bring back my zen, man. I want to bring back my zen, and I'm happiest when I'm on my own because I don't have to fucking deal with that shit. I don't have to play nice, and I don't have to do all the weird shit. Anyway, attitude. Okay. I think the common word here, because I've just pulled into my driveway, I think the common thread that we need to take away from this is if you're going to have an attitude, make it a constructive one that leans towards good. The second you make it about you, ego, exploitation, trying to get something out of someone, that's when attitude becomes a negative, stigmatized, horrible thing. There's nothing cute about assholes. And these supposedly cute asshole kids that grow up to just be assholes, yeah, that's not cute either. That's something you're supposed to grow out of, especially by the time you get to 20, mid-20s. Hormones in your late teens settling, I could understand maybe you're a bit feisty then. In 20s, no. No. Heading into your 20s, your hormones are done, dude. Just chill. We're still growing. We're still... No, you're not. No, you're not. You're pretty settled now. You might have your ups and downs when you're on your period. But that is not a constant bitchiness. That is, context and situationally, reliant. If you are choosing to hang around assholes that promote that bitchy girl, asshole guy attitude or mentality, then you need to leave that group, or you need to find better friends, because they are just dragging you down. Anyway, it's up to us to change. Even if you could say that you've got a trauma background like I've got, it is a choice. You don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to, promote that image of I'm a dick and therefore I'm awesome. It's like, no, there's nothing good about that. It's not conducive to any kind of social group. There's no sense of community in that. It's just you relying way too heavily on ego, playing the victim or anything like that, and it's just not going to work. People are going to kick you out of the group. Having said that, I'm pretty sure they attempted to kick me out of the last group. I'm pretty sure. It could be on my autism speaking, but I don't know. I wasn't like them, and to be honest, I'm okay with that. I don't care. You're not like us. You don't take drugs. You don't sleep around. It's like, good. My liver works, and I have a lot of money right now, so fuck you. I do not mind not belonging to those groups. There's no shame in that. If you can look at the people around you and say this attitude that they're promoting, and if I have to replicate this in order to belong, and it's not good for me, and I'm not feeling in it, and I don't want to belong to this, and it just comes across as nasty, conniving, opportunistic, golding, I don't know. There's so many words I could attribute to that. Personality is, I don't want to be that, because the people you hang around is what is going to represent you, essentially. You could say that I'm my own person in that group, but at the same time, not really when you're picking up their traits and behaviors, because you'll want to belong, and in wanting to belong, you'll join in. It's stupid, which is why I'm saying, like, find good people to hang around, find your soul tribe. Don't try and just jam yourself into people that are assholes. Okay, it will affect everything. Right, I'm going to leave it there because I've got to go get some food and a tissue because my nose is running off the charts. So I'm hoping you guys have a fantastic Monday for the rest of the day. Keep it clean. Stay nice and warm. If you're in a wintry country, go and get some nice lemonade or something. I don't know if you're in a summery one. I definitely want ice cream. I'm going to leave you there and I'll catch you on Thursday, hopefully.